Hey legends, you ever had that feeling deep down like all your silent goodness was just floating out there, unnoticed? Like, come on, you've been patient, kind, helpful, and still invisible. Oh yeah, I know that feeling. The world's loud, cruel, and unfair sometimes, huh? But guess what? What if I told you your kindness didn't vanish, it multiplied? What if those quiet moments, those times you chose peace instead of pride, were secretly building your rise? Nah, this ain't one of those fairy tale speeches. This is that dark truth type energy. The real talk most people are too afraid to say out loud. You think your kindness went unnoticed? You think no one saw your heart when you gave without expecting? Oh, someone did. Someone powerful. Someone watching when you thought no one cared. And yeah, this ain't just motivation. This is prophecy in motion. Your patience has been collecting interest. Your decency's about to cash in. And your calm, it's turning into a storm. They always underestimate the quiet ones, the kind ones, the ones who don't clap back, who don't roar when they're mocked, who simply walk away with that calm, unsettling silence. You see, kindness is a strange sort of weapon. It doesn't cut the skin, it slices the ego. It doesn't shout, it haunts. And oh wow, the world never knows what to do with that kind of strength. Because it's not a weakness, it's restraint. It's the power to destroy, yet choosing to build. But no one claps for that. Not yet. You ever notice how people mistake softness for surrender? They think if you don't hit back, you're harmless. Nah. The truth? You're just patient. You've learned something they can't even spell. Timing. You've learned that silence can hold more chaos than 1,000 arguments. You've learned that a smile, given at the right moment, can break an enemy faster than a shout. And deep down, somewhere inside that storm you call calmness, you know it, your kindness has been your disguise all along. They laughed, didn't they? When you helped them, even when they didn't deserve it? They mocked your patience? They poked at your peace? Too nice, they said. Too forgiving? Oh, if only they knew what it cost you to stay gentle in a world sharpening its teeth. Every act of kindness came with a bruise. Every good deed left a scar no one saw. But you did it anyway, because something inside you refused to rot. You didn't know it then, but your kindness was being watched, not by the world, by someone silent, hidden, someone who had more power in one decision than those who mocked you could ever dream of having. They were falling, not from fame, but from humanity. Everyone around them wanted something. Money, attention, approval. But you gave without expecting. You helped without calculating. You spoke with care, not currency. And that struck something deep in them. Something they forgot they even had. Oh yeah, that day when you stopped to help. When you stayed a little longer to listen. When you gave what you didn't have to spare. You didn't just show kindness. You sparked redemption. You unknowingly saved someone who had everything, yet felt empty. The billionaire who had it all, except peace. And in your small act, in your quiet gesture, they saw what all their wealth couldn't buy. Decency. It rattled them. It changed them. It made them see the world differently. You think kindness doesn't pay off? Think again. The universe keeps receipts. Every time you chose peace over pettiness, every time you stayed kind when cruelty was easier, every time you held your ground with grace, something was keeping score. Not luck, not chance, just the natural consequence of goodness meeting its moment. They say nothing you do goes unnoticed, but most people laugh that off until the tide turns, until the smallest act they once ignored returns like a wave, unstoppable, undeniable, rewriting everything in its path. That's the irony of life. The moments that look meaningless often become the ones that matter most. And oh wow, yours was one of them. You had no idea that your quiet gesture had already started moving pieces far beyond your sight. That billionaire, the one you unknowingly saved, didn't forget. Nah, not even close. They carried that moment with them like a whisper in their chest. Haunting, echoing, because in a world where everything had a price, you reminded them that not everything should. Your kindness cracked through their armor. It planted a seed in a place that hadn't seen light in years. And while you went back to your life, just trying to do good, trying to stay decent in a crooked system, that seed began to grow in silence. You see, they started to notice things. How everyone smiled at them but meant nothing. How everyone agreed but never cared. They looked around at their towers, their jets, their luxury, and realized it all felt hollow. But that one moment, that one act of yours, it was real. It wasn't about what they owned, it was about who they had become. And that realization hit like lightning. So they began watching you, not with eyes of suspicion, but with respect. They studied how you moved, how you worked, how you treated people, even when no one was watching. And little by little, they saw something the world had missed: authenticity. You didn't chase applause. You didn't crave validation. You just lived by principle. Oh yeah, that shook them, because in all their success they had lost that very thing, principle. And now they're ready. Ready to repay what can't be repaid. Ready to balance the unseen equation that your kindness wrote. They've made decisions, quiet but powerful ones. Calls are being made, doors are opening that you didn't even know existed. People you've never met are suddenly speaking your name in rooms you never imagined being mentioned in. All because one act of decency reached the right heart at the right time. That's the strange thing about kindness. It doesn't just travel forward. It circles back. It moves through people, through moments, until one day it finds its way home, multiplied. Power doesn't always roar when it rises. Sometimes it hums quietly right under the surface. That's where you are now, standing in that eerie calm before everything changes. You don't even know what's coming, not really. You just feel it, that strange pulse in the air, that pull in your chest that whispers something's moving. And oh wow, it is. The world around you is starting to bend toward your kindness, to orbit the gravity of what you once gave freely. That's the part no one warns you about, when your patience starts cashing in its rewards. For so long, you thought you were invisible. You did right by people who turned away. You helped those who later forgot your name. You stayed true when it would have been easier to turn cold. Nah, you didn't fake it. You didn't play nice for the show. You just lived straight. No games, no poison, no mask, and life, as quiet as it seemed, was taking notes. Every time you walked away from pettiness, every time you chose calm over chaos, you were writing the foundation of what's happening right now, because what's pure always survives, and eventually it rises. The billionaire that soul you unknowingly touched They're not just repaying you with money. No, that'd be too small for the weight of what you gave. They're repaying you with opportunity, the kind that shifts the air around your name. They've seen the fake ones, the greedy ones, the ones who'll trade integrity for $1. But you stood apart. And in that difference, they saw a chance, not just to give back, but to rebuild something meaningful with you as the foundation. That's not luck. That's justice. Oh yeah. Life has this strange way of testing you before it trusts you. It gives you struggle, not to break you, but to measure how you move through the storm. And now, all those nights of wondering why me are about to answer themselves. Because the why was never punishment, it was preparation. You were being molded quietly while everyone else rushed blindly. You were being shaped into something unshakable, one act of kindness at a time. But here's the twist. This moment won't just lift you. It'll expose everyone who underestimated you. Those who laughed at your calm will panic when they see where that calm took you. Those who took advantage of your heart will choke when they realize it's your integrity that opened the doors they can't even find. That's the price of arrogance. It forgets that humility watches silently and wins eventually. Oh, the irony. The same world that once called you too kind will now label you strategic. The same people who ignored you will now call it destiny. They'll dress it in fancy words because they can't admit they were wrong. But you'll know. Deep down, you'll know it wasn't magic, luck, or timing. It was simply cause and effect. Truth doing what truth always does, coming back stronger. Funny thing about people, they remember you differently when you win. One day, you're the quiet one, the ignored one, the one whose kindness looked like weakness. Then suddenly, when your peace starts to pay off, when your patience turns into position, everyone rewrites the story. Oh wow, they'll swear they always saw your potential. They'll act like they supported you when you were invisible. Nah, they didn't. They just didn't expect your silence to echo louder than their noise. See, when life flips the script, truth gets loud. Every fake smile, every empty compliment, every shallow connection, it all reveals itself. You'll notice how the same mouths that doubted you now speak in admiration, but it won't move you anymore. Because you'll remember how cold it felt when you stood alone, choosing to stay decent while the world told you decency doesn't pay. You'll remember the moments when your kindness made you the outsider, the fool, the one who didn't know how the game works. Oh, but you did. You just refused to play it dirty. That billionaire who once watched your act of compassion in silence, they didn't just see kindness, they saw character. And that's the one currency the world can't manipulate. They saw the difference between being nice for attention and being kind because it's who you are. That realization hit them harder than any business failure. It made them question what they'd built, who they'd trusted, and what they truly valued. And now, they've chosen you, not out of pity, not out of debt, but out of recognition. They saw in you something rare, integrity with power. Oh yeah. Now your name's being mentioned in rooms filled with sharp minds and cold hands. They'll study you. They'll wonder how you did it without stepping on others. They'll call it strategy, discipline, maybe even luck. Let them guess. The truth's too quiet for their understanding. You didn't rise because you fought dirty. You rose because you stayed clean when everyone else stained themselves for a shortcut. That's what they'll never grasp. Purity isn't fragile, it's unbreakable when tested. So when your rewards start arriving, the doors, the offers, the influence, Stay steady. Don't gloat. Don't flex. Just walk through those doors with the same composure you had when no one noticed you. Because your elevation isn't revenge, it's proof. Proof that kindness backed by strength is the most dangerous power there is. Some call it fate, others call it luck, but you know better. Nothing about this was random. Every quiet decision, every act of restraint, every moment you chose integrity over ego, it built something unseen. It built you. Oh wow, most people only chase outcomes, but you became the outcome itself. You didn't chase power. You became powerful through patience. You didn't chase wealth. You attracted it through worth. That's the real trick. Life hides behind the noise. The ones who serve with sincerity always end up standing where pretenders fall. Now look around. The silence you once carried like a burden has turned into presence. The same people who mocked your humility now lower their tone in your space. You didn't have to shout. You didn't have to prove. You simply became undeniable. That's the beauty of walking the straight path. The rewards may arrive late, but when they do, they don't knock, they break the door down. Nah, this isn't payback, it's confirmation. Remember those long nights you wondered if it was worth it? If kindness still mattered in a world built on manipulation? It did. It always did. Because kindness isn't weakness, it's a test. It measures who you are when no one is watching. And you passed that test when others quit, halfway. You stayed firm when bitterness tried to twist you. You stayed grounded when arrogance tried to lift you too soon. You didn't let the darkness change your design. You mastered the art of calm in a world addicted to noise. And now your quiet discipline has opened a path that noise could never find. The billionaire you once unknowingly helped. They've stepped into your life again, not to rescue you, but to join you. They want your insight, your integrity, your vision, because they finally understand character outlives currency. And that's your real wealth. Oh yeah, you've reached that point where your moral compass is your greatest asset, and the world finally sees it for what it's worth. But let's not lie. The journey changed you. It carved out your edges, burned away your illusions, stripped you down to essence. You learned the hard way that kindness without strength invites exploitation, and strength without kindness breeds destruction. So you became both the calm and the storm. Now when you walk into a room, people feel that balance. It's not arrogance. It's awareness. The awareness of what it took to get here. Every silent battle, every swallowed pain, every test you passed alone. Oh wow, who would have thought? The one they ignored turned into the one they can't stop watching. But deep inside, you know, the real victory isn't the recognition, it's the peace. The quiet knowing that you did it right. Without betrayal, without corruption, without losing your essence. And there it is, the full circle. The quiet one, the kind one, the one they ignored, finally standing where noise can't reach. Oh wow, you did it. You stayed true when chaos screamed for your attention. You stayed patient when arrogance mocked your peace. And now, every little act they laughed at is paying you back in thunder. You didn't lose, you learned. You didn't break, you built. Every time you walked away from hate, you built a layer of protection around your purpose. Every time you chose kindness over ego, you loaded another blessing into the chamber of destiny. And now, it's firing back. Boom. right when you need it most. Nah, this isn't coincidence. This is the quiet return of every good thing you planted. This is what happens when you refuse to become bitter in a world that feeds on it. You didn't just survive, you shifted the balance. You reminded the world that power doesn't have to be cruel to be effective. So listen, if this message hit you somewhere deep, if it reminds you that staying kind isn't weakness but strategy, drop a comment below. Let me know you felt this in your chest. Because people like you keep this world from collapsing completely. You're the rare ones, the quiet warriors, the proof that integrity still wins in the end. Oh wow. Yeah, your kindness was never wasted. It was watched it was recorded. And now it's about to reward you beyond what you imagined. Stay strong, stay sharp, stay kind. Because this world doesn't need more noise, it needs more of you. Aha, warriors. The air's heavy tonight, like the whole world's holding its breath. They laughed before, remember? Ah, yeah, they said you were doing too much. But look around now, the silence is loud. Everything you warned about, it's happening in front of their eyes. The same people who said you were overthinking are now whispering your name like a storm's coming. Oh, this is what truth looks like when it finally breaks free. You didn't need to shout, reality shouted for you. Every sign you pointed out, every pattern you exposed, every warning you dropped, it's all unfolding just like you said. The whole community's shook. Not because they didn't see it coming, but because you did. Nah, this isn't just a moment. This is your proof. The energy shifted, the masks are cracking, and the silence? Oh, it's screaming now. You stayed real when everyone else played fake. You stayed patient when they mocked your focus. And now look, they're the ones trembling. So drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let the world know you saw it too. Because this one's not just a Joker speech. It's a message for the awake, the aware, and the ones who refused to fold when truth started shaking the room. They laughed when you warned them. Now they whisper your name like a curse. Oh, isn't it poetic? The same crowd that once mocked your caution now trembles at every headline. The same ones who rolled their eyes when you spoke truth now stare at the sky, wondering when the next hit will come. It's strange, really, how silence changes once reality starts echoing your words. You told them the foundation was cracking. You felt the shift under your feet, but they were too busy smiling through the smoke to notice the fire creeping up the walls. You watched it happen. The denial, the pride, the illusion of safety. You tried to tell them that not every laugh is real, not every light is hope, and not every leader knows where they're going. But nah, they wanted comfort over truth. They wanted noise over warning. And now the noise has eaten them alive. Look around. Can you feel it? That uneasy calm, that tension humming through every conversation? The community shook, every eye searching for answers that were already given to them, every voice cracking under the weight of realization. It's not just fear, it's recognition. Recognition that maybe, just maybe, the one they called paranoid was actually awake. You warned them that their comfort was borrowed time. You warned them that peace built on lies collapses in silence, not in thunder. And now the silence has arrived, not empty, but heavy, full of everything they refused to face. People don't understand that truth doesn't need permission to reveal itself. It waits, patiently, until the mask slips. The system fractures, and every hidden thing spills out into daylight. Oh, the irony. The same voices that silenced yours are now desperate to sound wise. The same hands that pushed you aside now tremble, reaching for guidance. You don't need to say, "I told you so." The world is saying it for you, because truth has no need to scream once the world begins to whisper in panic. But don't gloat. That's the trap. See, this isn't about revenge. It's about confirmation. You weren't seeking credit. You were sounding an alarm. You were watching patterns, reading behavior, connecting dots they refused to see. And when it all snapped, you didn't flinch. You just watched, calm, steady, unshaken. Because deep down, you knew this moment was inevitable. You didn't predict chaos. You just understood cause and effect. Every ignored warning grows teeth eventually. Every dismissed voice becomes the echo that haunts the night. And now, they're surrounded by that echo, every rumor, every consequence, every fallout tracing back to what you said. They see it now. The dominoes are falling, one by one. The moment the wind changed, so did every smile. And just like that, everything you warned them about started to unfold. Slowly at first, like whispers crawling through the cracks of comfort, and then all at once. Oh wow, the silence you once carried like a burden has now become their soundtrack. The storm is no longer a theory. It's here. You can feel it pressing against every door, rattling every illusion they built to protect their pride. They thought your patience meant weakness. They mistook your restraint for surrender. But nah, they never understood that the calm ones are usually the most dangerous, not because they want chaos, but because they see it coming long before it arrives. You were never trying to scare them. You were trying to prepare them. And now, as the walls start to shake, their confidence melts like wax. The masks slip. The voices that once filled the air with noise now hide behind excuses. The storm exposes everything, every lie, every act, every false alliance. Nothing hides forever. It's strange, isn't it? How everyone claims they want truth until it shows up uninvited. They love to talk about strength until they realize strength means standing alone. They speak of loyalty until it costs them comfort. You told them loyalty isn't built on convenience, it's tested by pressure. And now that pressure has arrived, their true colors are bleeding through the surface. Yeah, they're scared. Scared not just of what's happening outside, but of what's waking up inside. Because once fear settles in, it doesn't just make people panic, it makes them confess. It makes them remember every moment they ignored the warning signs. Every time they laughed instead of listened. Every chance they had to change before change became survival. Oh, the irony. They used to call you dramatic, said you were too intense, too serious, too obsessed with truth. But now they copy your words like scripture, repeating your lines as if they were their own. It's almost tragic watching them try to sound wise after ignoring wisdom itself. You can see the guilt in their eyes, the regret written across their silence. But don't mock them. No, because the storm was never about proving you right. It was about revealing what's real. This is the reckoning of comfort, the return of balance. When all the noise fades, only truth remains standing. The ones who built their lives on shortcuts are collapsing under their own weight, while those who stood on principle are suddenly looking unbreakable. You warned them not to chase the easy path. You told them the smooth road hides the deepest cracks. And now those cracks are swallowing everything that was built on lies. It's quiet now, but silence can be louder than screams. When the storm finally passed, everything changed. The noise, the chaos, the panic, gone. What's left behind isn't peace. It's clear. Oh wow, you can finally see who's who. The masks have melted. The voices have softened, and the truth, that quiet, relentless truth, stands in the open like a mirror they can't look away from. The community that once walked with arrogance now stumbles through reflection. It's not the same place anymore. Every smile looks cautious, every handshake uncertain, every promise trembling under its own memory. You stand among them, not to gloat, not to punish, but to witness. You see their faces shift when your presence reminds them of everything they ignored. It's almost painful, isn't it? Watching people realize they built comfort out of denial. They thought warnings were noise, but now they crave the very guidance they rejected. Nah, they never understood that truth doesn't disappear when dismissed. It just waits. And when it returns, it doesn't knock politely, it kicks the door open. They're shaken, because the illusion they called normal has shattered. They're searching for someone steady, someone who doesn't flinch when everything else breaks. And that's when it hits you. The same eyes that once avoided yours now watch you with quiet respect. Not because you wanted power, but because you never traded truth for popularity. You stayed centered, firm, untouched by the tides of false comfort. Oh, the irony. The ones who mocked your discipline now study your composure. The ones who laughed at your patience now chase it desperately. But you don't smile. You don't celebrate their fall. You understand? This was never about winning over people. It was about standing firm against weakness. And that's the lesson the storm came to teach. You can't save everyone, but you can stand so strong that others begin to rebuild by your example. Because real leadership isn't declared, it's revealed. It's not about standing on a stage. It's about standing when everyone else sits down. You didn't rise through applause. You rose through consistency, through silence, through restraint. The very qualities they once mistook for insignificance have now become the blueprint for survival. Yeah, they see it now. The warning wasn't noise, it was mercy. The distance you kept wasn't arrogance, it was wisdom. And every time you chose principle over popularity, you wrote the kind of legacy that storms cannot erase. That's why they look at you differently now. Because when everything fell apart, you didn't. Now the question lingers like smoke in the air, not from them, but from within you. You've seen what happens when truth is ignored, when patience is mocked, when warnings go unheeded. You've seen collapse, and you've seen endurance. Everyone wants the crown, until they feel how heavy it is. The dust has cleared, the noise has died, and now the real test begins. When everything is broken, and the crowd looks around for direction, they turn to whoever didn't flinch when the world cracked. Oh wow, that's you. Not because you demanded it, but because endurance made you the last one standing. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Standing tall isn't glory. It's responsibility. It's the moment you realize leadership isn't power, it's burden. They'll call you strong, but they'll never see the nights you spent holding your ground when silence felt louder than chaos. They'll follow you now, but they'll never understand how much you sacrificed to stay steady when panic made others run. Nah, they only see the surface. They see the calm, not the cost. The truth? Real leadership doesn't come from being fearless. It comes from being willing to act despite fear. You didn't escape the storm untouched. You just refused to let it change your direction. You can feel the shift in the air, the way people move differently now, the way they measure their words before they speak to you. There's a strange kind of respect in their tone, mixed with guilt and awe. They finally see what you saw all along. But don't let that admiration blind you. Oh, the irony. Respect is easy to give when fear lingers in the room. The real test comes when comfort returns, when they forget what chaos taught them. That's when the cycle tries to repeat. Your role now isn't to remind them of their mistakes. It's to guide them beyond them, to rebuild something solid, not based on fear, but on clarity. That's the quiet task of every survivor who becomes a leader. Turn warning into wisdom. Because it's not enough to have seen the truth. You must now shape it into something that lasts. Every action, every word, every boundary will echo beyond this moment. They'll study how you move when no one's clapping, how you decide when no one's watching. Yeah, this is where the character either grows or collapses. You can't lead with bitterness. You can't lead through pride. You lead by showing that discipline can outlive disaster, that restraint can be power, that calm can command storms. The same patience that made them laugh before will now become the compass that keeps them steady. You're no longer warning them, you're shaping them, and that's a different kind of battle altogether. Because leadership isn't about being followed. It's about being remembered for what you refuse to compromise. The storm tested your strength, but this tests your integrity. The calm after the storm isn't peace. It's a temptation to wear a smile. You'd think once the dust settled, everything would finally make sense. But oh wow, peace can be just as dangerous as chaos. Maybe even more, because chaos sharpens you, keeps you alert. But peace whispers, you've done enough. It tempts you to lower your guard, to forget the lessons that pain carved into your mind, to sink back into comfort, disguised as recovery. That's the trick most never see coming. When everything feels safe again, that's when the real decay begins. You look around and see it happening already. People smiling again, pretending the storm was just a bad dream. Their words soft again, their promises loud again, their lessons fading faster than smoke in the wind. Nah, they didn't change. They just paused. The fear wore off, and now they crave the same distractions that blinded them before. And this is where your discipline is tested the most. Because standing tall in chaos is one thing, but staying true when the world relaxes, that's a different kind of strength. You walk through streets that once echoed with panic, now filled with laughter. But it's a fragile kind of laughter, hollow, almost desperate. They call it healing, but you can sense it's just escape. The same minds that once trembled at truth are rebuilding their illusions, brick by brick. Oh, the irony. The same warnings they swore they'd never forget are now treated like stories from another life. And you stand there, realizing something harsh. Memory fades faster than fear. But you can't join them. Not anymore. You've seen too much. You've understood too deeply. You've learned that comfort is the enemy of awareness. That when everything seems easy, that's when the test begins again. Because peace isn't the end of struggle, it's the continuation in disguise. Every smile, every opportunity, every praise now becomes a trial of intention. Will you stay centered, or will you soften into what you once warned against? Yeah, it's lonely up here. The quiet of clarity often is, but it's also powerful. Because when everyone else starts slipping back into denial, you remain awake. Calm doesn't mean blind. Peace doesn't mean trust. You move with purpose now. Not from fear, but from understanding. You know that balance isn't about avoiding storms. It's about not letting peace make you forget why you survived them. This is where your true evolution happens. Not in the noise, not in the panic, but in the silence afterward. That's where character either strengthens or dissolves. And you didn't come this far just to blend back into the comfort that broke them. Oh, wow. They'll call you distant now. They'll say you've changed. Maybe you have, but that's the price of awareness. Once you see clearly, you can never unsee. Because peace may tempt you to sleep, but the wise never stop watching the sky. So here we are, exactly where you said we'd be. The truth's out, the masks are off, and the noise, louder than ever. But you're calm, because you knew this moment was coming. Stay sharp, stay fearless, and hey, drop your thoughts below. I read every word.